special guest co-host this week, Scott Borchetta, the CEO of Big Machine Vodka and the Big Machine Label Group, stepped out of the studio. We're going to get him on the phone here in just a minute. He's going to go do some television. So he has stepped out of the studio, but he'll be calling in here in just a minute. Right now we have on the phone somebody who is coming to town in pretty good shape for the Big Machine Vodka 400 at the Brickyard, powered by Florida Georgia Line. The driver of the number 41 Haas Automation Stewart-Haas Racing Ford, Kurt Busch. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for calling. I think we got Scott here on the other line. Hang on just a minute. Scott, we're on the air live with Kurt Busch. Good morning.
Hey, Scott Borchetta.
Hey, Scott. What's going on, boys?
Man, we are so pumped about the Big Machine Vodka 400 and so pumped that you are in the chase and just looking forward to a great, great weekend.
Now, Kurt, because of the win at Bristol last month, you were already in. How does that affect your strategy going into this last race? I mean, there's some guys that are on the bubble that are going to be fighting for a position in the playoffs that you've already locked up. How do you approach the race from that perspective?
It doesn't change much for us on the 41 car, but, there's going to be a ton of guys that don't have a win and that aren't going to make it in on points. The only two that can make it in on points really are Jimmy Johnson and Alex Bowman. So they're going to be just kind of in protection mode, conservation mode, just making sure they don't mess anything up. But then you got a ton of guys like Stenhouse, Suarez, Newman, any of the younger guys or any of the guys that have been running okay. They're going to put two tires on, try to gamble. There's just going to be a ton of chaos towards the end of the race. So it's going to be fun to be part of.
Oh, you like being part of chaos. Of course you do, because you drive everything and anything that goes at an unnaturally fast speed. Of course, you've driven IndyCar before, Indy 500 here. What is that like to be back in Indianapolis for you?
Well, Indy is always such a special treat. It's one of the coolest tracks that we race on. It's a very prestigious track. And I've never won the race there for the Brickyard, and I've always struggled with the stock car. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go try the Indy car. And I did it a few years back, and just flat out just so much enjoyment from running 230 miles an hour. But then just to feel the track with the Indy car, it kind of brought the two together on why they built the place and why the shape it's in and how the design of the rear engine cars with the aerodynamics over the years have evolved. Stock cars aren't quite made for that track. That's why, we're always there, just kind of a bull in a china shop, and the Indy cars really fit that track very well. So it's interesting to run all kinds of different cars. This time around, though, it's just kind of go for the win, see what we can get done.
Hey, Kurt, so you were bad fast in Indy car. Do you think you'll ever come back and do the 500 again?
Maybe, Scott, maybe. It was such a challenge to do both the stock car and the Indy car at the same time. What ends up happening is the month of May, all the practice sessions with the Indy car there, and then my schedule with the NASCAR car was I'm in Talladega this weekend, I'm in Kansas that weekend, I'm in Delaware this weekend. And so there's a lot of travel back and forth. So I would want to just do the Indy car alone if I was to come back.
Well, and to take no offense to this, but you're almost 6 feet tall. You have more of a NASCAR physique than getting in one of those tiny little Indy cars.
I can barely get in there. It works. But yeah, I do need to drop probably 15 pounds, and I'm already on the skinny side. So those IndyCar guys are pretty fit, and every pound counts with those cars.
Well, I wasn't commenting on the weight, but just your height. I'm 6'4", and I've tried to get in one of those cars before, and my knees are in my chin, so I know how tiny they can be. So, hey, we're talking to Kurt Busch, driver to the number 41 Ford for Stewart-Haas Racing. You have a Daytona win under your belt in your career. How important would it be to have a bookend Brickyard win?
And that's what I've been going for these last few years with where I am in my career and what I've accomplished and all the cool teams I've raced for. There's just a couple of those marquee trophies missing from my trophy shelf, which is the Brickyard 400. We just raced the Southern 500 and came up a little short this year. It was third last year, sixth this year. And the last one that's still sitting there is another championship. And that's what I'm running for right now. And we're eligible on the 41 car, and we just got to work our way through the playoffs each round as we go through these rounds this year. So just having fun, loving it. Accomplished a lot. Still love going to the track and meeting new people that are coming into our sport, whether it's with sponsors, engineers, team owners, different people. And, like what Scott Borchetta and Big Machine are doing with the Brickyard, it's an incredible adventure for them to bring in different music acts, now launching the Vodka brand. Real proud of them doing that and using the Motorsports Forum to try to push it strong in the beginning.
Now, has Scott introduced you to anybody cool on the music side of things?
There was this little girl that was kind of undiscovered a few years back. Her name's Taylor Swift, so it was cool,
Never heard of her.
Yeah, Kurt, I set up Kurt to see the Taylor show in Washington, D.C., and he sent me a killer picture. He goes, "I'm going to drive the getaway car," which is a song off Taylor's new album. So he got to see the show, and it's coming to Indy, by the way, in a couple weeks. And there might be a couple of tickets left, but you want to see the Taylor Swift show.
Yeah, it'll be at Lucas Oil Stadium. And actually, Kurt, my hometown is Washington, D.C., and please, a little personal message for your wife, that when I was growing up, I grew up in a home that was built by Van Meter Homes, which is, that's your wife's family's company, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, let her know. I grew up in a Van Meter home in Northern Virginia outside Washington, D.C.
See, look at you. You're a nice guy. You're a nice radio host. You're successful.
It had everything to do with it. Let her know. Thank you for that. So, and thank you for your time this morning, Kurt. And best of luck to you here this weekend as we get ready for the Big Machine Vodka 400 at the Brickyard, powered by Florida Georgia Line on Sunday. And maybe you'll get to see a little bit of live music at FGL Fest on Saturday too. All right.
Absolutely. Tell everybody to come on out to the track. It's going to be a good time. Got the museum, the bands, the track, garage area. Always a fun track to go to.
Excellent. Thank you, Kurt Busch and Scott Borchetta, CEO of Big Machine Vodka and Big Machine Records, joining us here this morning. Chance for you to go see FGL Fest on the way after Jordan Davis.